I've realized that a great way to capture my attention is when nostalgic topics are brought up. Things like Plants vs. Zombies, Minecraft, old cartoons come to mind when I think about my childhood. You would figure going outside would be on the list somewhere, but I mean, look at me, I'm a YouTuber. But like many people my age, I like scary things. Horror is one of the most popular genres among my age, especially since a lot of us grew up watching Markiplier. And as we grow older, it becomes nice to mix these nostalgic things with horror. And today I wanted to look at a piece of analog horror, and after we look at it, I'm going to give a bit of an analysis and a bit of an explanation and give a little bit of a review on what I think of it. Now, when I first saw this video, I was actually in between classes. I went to the bathroom, which isn't like the best place to watch horror media, but nonetheless, this video managed to be unnerving. The title is I'm So Sorry with a creepy font. Ooh, put that on the bingo board. The thumbnail is pretty insensitive. It's a picture of Dave. I'm not gonna say what it is, but Logan Paul would definitely like point at it. And I'm not like a big fan of like insensitive stuff in horror media, but I do think that this is part of the story. The video starts with some normal Plants vs. Zombies gameplay. The player then goes into the Zen garden and starts clicking around. You can see that they have an incredibly impressive tree of wisdom, and after scrolling back to the garden, the game corrupts. And while it is a jump scare, which I don't appreciate, docking some points, jump scares are cheap. Jump scares are dumb. Hashtag stop jump scares. But I do think that this sequence is pretty well done. I mentioned at the beginning of the video that nostalgia is like a big thing that I appreciate in media. Now, I think that this corruption does an excellent job at making it feel like something actually went wrong with the game. Just something about the noise that plays kind of just like brings me back to when I was a kid and like something went wrong with my video game. I'm sure you guys have had games crash on you on like the Xbox or something and everything just starts stalling, or like maybe you break something on accident and it makes a loud noise. Now, I watched this video with a friend afterwards and he told me this was something like the sound was like from the Wii or something, which could be why I kind of recognized it, but just hearing this noise like evokes panic in me like nothing else. The screen is overcome with static. Add another, point to the corny factor. The screen cuts to black and we're greeted by the title screen, which is now pretty barren and dark and windy, and the tombstone reads 14, which I'll get back to later, and the name has been changed to I'm So Sorry. The player then grabs Crazy Dave's keys, and then we're greeted by this scene.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
This scene actually repeats about 3 times, but if we skip forward a little bit, you'll see the screen then flashes, she's gone forever, and then we're greeted by the FNAF sound effect. This little white thing, which I think is supposed to symbolize like a soul, goes to the Zen garden. The player then follows it, and we see that Dave has done what he did in the thumbnail. It's not very graphic, but also, So after we're met with that screen for a while, the video plays distorted screams, and it ends on a silent black screen. Subscribe! Now, the video seems pretty straightforward, but I wanted to point out a couple of things. And first of all, there's a lot of corny moments, which I'll admit, you could see it racking up the points. However, I still found it a little charming. And this is mainly because I love Plants vs. Zombies. So I'll admit it, I'm biased. And this is one of the many Plants vs. Zombie creepypasta videos that this guy has made. This guy, Dino the 8-Bit Game. And it seems to have taken a lot of inspiration from U53RDV. As you can see, the videos have these tags below, so I'm pretty sure that the inspiration was not meant to be hidden. And I just want to clarify before I start that I do believe this video was just made to capitalize on stereotypical analog horror tropes. However, this analysis is just for the fun of it, so no hate to the creator, and don't hate on me for overanalyzing small parts of this. I think that the actual story begins like right here, when the screen breaks, perhaps hinting at whatever event caused the death of this person, taking place in what used to be something zen to Dave, a safe place for Dave, but it's corrupted by his mistake. Now, I'm not sure what the mistake might be, but it might have something to do with his keys, because as you can see, when the player grabs the keys, this is when we're greeted by the incident. But whatever the incident is, the story is obviously trying to pin the blame on Dave. He's profusely apologizing for whatever he did, and you can hear in his voice that it really bothers him. I'd also like to point out that the gravestone says 14, and I don't know what this might mean. The first thing that calls out to me is maybe like the age of the victim. Maybe he hit like a nephew. More probable theory is that the creator of the video couldn't figure out how to get the level marker out of the title screen. When the person flatlines, you can see Crazy Dave falls into a fit of rage and ends up not being able to deal with the guilt from the blood on his hands. Even after he dies, the screams of his sins even follow him into the afterlife. But my final thing to kind of tie all of this together is that I don't think this video means really anything at all. And I really want to bring up a comment that kind of just like fully explains how I feel about this. This person said, if this series was not just a collage of scary Plants vs. Zombies edits, there could be a very well developed story. And if I'm being perfectly honest, I think the only thing that's stopping me from like ruthlessly making fun of this is because it's Plants vs. Zombies. And like, pea shooter, man. Of course I love Plants vs. Zombies. I use the soundtrack in like every single one of my videos. But the more I watch this, the more I start to realize that it's really cliche, really corny, and the story isn't too detailed at all. It's pretty much just for shock value only. Now the visuals and the audio are great, and I still stand by how well the video makes it seem like something has gone wrong, but it's just lacking a little bit of substance. Now my final review, I'm gonna give this one a 3 out of 10. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was gonna give it a 2 out of 10, but you know, extra point for but of course, there's always more horror content to consume, so you might want to watch one of these too. Subscribe to my channel.